Caring for a boa constrictor. One of the things you need to keep in mind when you are thinking about acquiring one of these snakes is that they are very heavy-bodied animals, and males can get anywhere from 5 to 6 feet, which is a decent sized snake. It's not a huge snake, but it is a good size, and especially since they're heavy-bodied, they are quite a handful. Or they can get anywhere from 7 to 8 feet for a female, and sometimes larger. And their growth is fairly quick, especially when they're babies. They will be growing very quickly, especially if you feed them on a weekly basis every 7 days. Now, enclosure-wise, you want to keep babies. Babies can be kept in small Tupperware containers with, I'll show you how I keep my baby corn snakes. So something like this is for a baby corn snake, but something like this on a larger scale would be perfect for a baby boa constrictor. A little water bowl like that, and I just use toilet paper rolls. For a boa constrictor, you can use paper towel rolls or some other kind of hide. If you want to get like an official one from a pet store, then you can do that as well. I have too many snakes to be able to do that, and these work perfectly fine. So yeah, a little setup like this with paper towel. You can use aspen shavings. When I was raising my boa, I kept them on aspen. Aspen is the go-to. So I'll cut over back to my boa. So you saw a baby setup. Now adult setups need to be much larger. The minimum enclosure size that you'll see listed on a lot of care sheets and stuff will be a 4x2 enclosure, which is 4 feet wide, which is this enclosure right here. So 4 feet wide and then 2 feet deep. And then height wise, they usually don't list a height. This is a foot tall, and more height, he would probably use additional height if he was given it. They will climb from time to time, so if you get a cage that's higher, it'll only benefit the snake. So if you can spring for that, definitely do it. He does have a branch in there, and babies, you can also supply branches and other kinds of foliage that they can climb on. They'll utilize it, and you'll get to enjoy your baby's natural instincts and stuff. And I just want to mention water bowls. You saw what I use for baby corn snake water bowls, for baby snake water bowls. I just use little plastic ones. I like these heavier ones for the larger snakes, as they can tip them. They can tip over the plastic ones and cause mold and other issues. So yeah, I use the heavier ones for the adult snakes, so I don't have to worry about cleaning up a mess. So yeah, and they do soak. So if you give them a water bowl that's big enough, they may soak in it. I've never given him one that was big enough, so I don't know if he would use it or not. Haven't really tried. So that's something you can do as well. You can give them a water bowl that's big enough that they can soak in. They would probably use it. Hide places. I still need to. I'm still thinking about what kind of hides I want to use. Additional hides for my boa here. That log hide seems to work pretty good, and I don't keep the light on in here all the time, so he gets his security. If I left the light on all the time, then that disturbs the snake. These snakes are nocturnal, so they don't enjoy light. So they'll be hiding. They'll try to stay out of the light as much as possible. So as far as lighting, you don't need to supply them any lighting. You don't need to, but if you want to view your snake better, then I would definitely recommend some kind of lighting, but don't leave it on all the time. Just use it when you want to view the snake. That's how I do it. I have the LED strip up there, and I only turn it on when I want to view the snake and interact with the snake or feed the snake or whatever. So I want to mention another thing about the water. A lot of people think you need to dechlorinate the water. For snakes and a lot of other reptiles, you don't need to dechlorinate the water. The water can come straight out of the tap and it's fine. I used to dechlorinate my water for the longest time, thinking that chlorine would harm the snakes. It doesn't. I switched. I've been using tap water, chlorinated water out of the sink for years now, and I've never had any ill effects. I've used it on baby corn snakes, ball pythons, this boa constrictor. My blood python soaks in it. It doesn't cause any issues to the snakes, so you don't need to worry about RepTSafe or dechlorinator. Some care sheets may say that, but you will, in my experience, chlorine does not affect snakes. Now fish, it would definitely affect fish, obviously. But animals that just drink the water, it doesn't seem to bother them any at all. So, as mentioned, no lighting's needed. So you may be asking, how do you heat the snake? Well, heat-wise, a heat panel like that, if you can spring for it, or a heat pad is more commonly used. A heat pad is perfect for these snakes, and you want it to run on a thermostat. So I'll go over here and I'll show you thermostats I use. I use this kind. This controls the heat pads. This is a Zilla. This is a Zilla thermostat. I think I got it at Petco or something. They're kind of pricey for what they are. It's a analog thermostat. I don't really care for these, but they work. They work fine. They have lights that show red or green. Green means they're at the temperature, and green red means that they're heating. I use this. I don't know if you can see it back there. Let's see it through the tank here. Okay, I use that jump start thermostat, and it may look like it's kind of blinking a little bit, but it's staying lit. Just it shows like that on the camera, but it's at 88 degrees, and that's all digital. It's actually cheaper than the Zilla ones, so I definitely recommend those for hooking up heat pads or any other heat sources, and that seems to work great for these snakes. So yeah, you definitely need to supply heat, and a maximum temperature of 88 to 90 degrees seems to work great for these snakes. Lows of the mid to high 70s. I turn that whole heat panel off at night. So I have a timer on it. I have one of these little timers right here. It's a little Zoom Ed one. It's a day and night timer. So this will turn off the thermostat and the heat panel all at once. And so he'll get his nighttime low. So it drops to about 75, 76 degrees in here. And they need that nighttime cool down. It's good for them, and they don't need heat. You don't want them to be super hot all the time. So now feeding wise, I mentioned babies need to eat once a week. Slow down on feeding as they get older, because they are prone to obesity. So you want to make sure that you don't have an obese snake, because that'll shorten their lifespan and cause health problems down the road. So you don't want to overfeed these snakes. So right now he's eating every 3 weeks to a month, and that is perfect for an adult that he is. He's about 6 feet long, about 4 years old. He's an adult, and so he doesn't eat very often. So he's given that look that he's giving you. That's not an issue. That's just how they sit. They sit kind of curled up like that. It doesn't mean if you see that kind of behavior, that's totally normal for boa constrictors. They just tend to sit like that. So nothing to worry about. So he eats one large meal a month, and you want to go by the thickest part of his girth. So right here, that's about the thickest part of his girth. So yeah, that is. He eats large rats right now. He could probably eat an extra large rat. But yeah, I just go by his girth, and it's the same thing with babies. Babies, you can probably go a little bit larger. You just want to be careful you don't feed them something too big, otherwise they may regurgitate. So, no need. A big myth that you'll see out there that has been debunked is that you need to take the snake out to feed it, which is not necessary. The snake does not associate. You don't need to take the snake out to feed it in fear of the snake biting you when you take it out. They don't. That's a myth. You can feed the snake inside the enclosure. I reach in here all the time. I feed him. He knows when he smells the difference between food in my hand. So I reach in here whenever I want and take him out, and I feed him in the same exact enclosure. I never take him out. I feed him. I feed all my snakes in their enclosures. Never have any problems with getting bit because they think I'm food. So that's a myth. Don't worry about that. Just feed the snake in his enclosure. He's more comfortable in there, and it's just easier all the way around. You don't need a separate feeding container. So just don't worry about it. Now, handling, you need to work with them. If you're getting a baby, you need to work with them consistently and make sure you don't drop them or make them mad in any way. So, and when I say consistent, I mean, at least once a day, maybe once every 2 days, and get them used to human interaction. And they take very well to that. Boa constrictors tame down very, very quickly. And sorry, my video cut out. So as I was saying, handling, yeah, just work with them. They tame down very, very easily, and he's a very tame adult now. So, yep, lifespan wise, I've briefly went over that. Their lifespan's about 20 to 30 years. Some of them have reached 40 years. There's some long-term captives that have gone a little bit over that. So they have a very long lifespan, so don't get one of these animals and think that they're going to be a short-term pet. They're a long-term pet. You need to be able to provide them all their requirements their whole lives. And it's easy. It's not hard, guys. It's not hard. If you invest in good equipment, when you get further in the hobby, if you can get a nice heat panel, which lasts, those things last for 40, 50 years. That's why I decided to get one. And these enclosures are really nice. They last forever. So I never have to worry about him. All I have to worry about with him is give him water and feed him every 3 weeks to a month. Okay, and then, obviously handle them, show them to your friends and stuff, take pictures as they grow, record them. It's cool stuff. It's really enjoyable, and it's worth it. Raising one of these snakes is very rewarding. You won't regret it. And yeah, I definitely highly encourage you to look into boa constrictors if you're looking into getting a larger species of snake. So, and I'm gonna briefly go over some morphs. There's many different kinds that you can get. There's albinos, there's motleys, there's all kinds of different patterns and stuff. So if you don't want a normal boa like this, then you can get something more exotic, and they have tons of different morphs you can choose from. So, yeah. So if you guys have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. Subscribe. That really helps me out, and it will allow me to get some more videos out there. And I hope you guys liked it. If I missed something, let me know. All right, thanks. Bye.